Hey guys, and welcome back to another deep dive analysis with Jesse, and I'm joined again by Ashura. Welcome back, Ashura. As promised, guys, any Ajara cinematic, she's going to be here to talk about all the juicy details. And today is the day. Ashura, are you ready? Are you ready for today?
I'm scared, but
Same, and I'm curious to see what happens, because this time last expansion was the big Argus reveal. The big Argus reveal in the sky kind of thing with Kil'jaeden and all that. So, what's it going to be? We're going to dive right into this. We're going to film ourselves watching it, and then we'll be back to talk about all the juicy details. We're going to play in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Something's not right. Oh shit. We'll be back in a moment. Alright guys, we are back, and oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, this has been building. I'm seeing a lot of comments online that people are disappointed in this cinematic. People are disappointed that they wanted more. How are you disappointed in this cinematic? Oh my god. We're gonna dive right into this, and there's so much here. We're gonna try not to make this a 45-minute long video. No guarantees. So, Ashura, are you ready? Let's just dive right into this. I know. We have a whole page of notes here, and there's so many callbacks to Warbringers and more here. We start the cinematic with Ajara on the ground. Now this doesn't seem like much, right? But the Queen herself is down and out. Every time we've seen her, every shot. Not every shot. In Warbringers, there's some reflection here, but it's always been she is held up majestically. She's looking at herself in the mirror. She is proud and smug, and the Queen is no more here. Her arms are spread out, and I instantly thought of Warbringers when her arms are out and she is holding back the wave. In the same way that she is defying death right now, just as she defied death 10,000 years ago. And in the same way that her jaw is clenched in the Warbringers episode, her jaw is clenched here, and then she starts gasping. We can hear her in pain. And this is the second time we've seen this. And seeing Ajara in pain, that was weird. That was... Ashura, what are your thoughts on Ajara in pain?
it's such a hard part to watch, and we talked a little bit about this moment because to me it feels like she's in extreme pain, and we kind of realized like this is the first time she's probably ever, been defeated or felt this much pain. And I was saying, I think in a way she expected to lose. She has to lose in order for N'Zoth to be freed and to be successful. But I think still the idea that she could lose and that people could overpower her, it's like, it's terrifying. There's there's a line in the trilogy, and we can debate about how canon the World of War the War of the Ancients trilogy is now. But it's like the first time in her life she ever broke a sweat was when she was holding back the Well of Eternity. And I imagine this is like so many times worse than that.
In this particular moment, she is looking down at this glass-like floor and gasping for breath, and the same with the fish was. Reflection seems to be a common occurrence for Ajara, as well as like the whole Medusa concept and all that. In 8.2 intro, she's admiring herself in the waters, and here she is clearly able to see herself. There is clearly a way of reflection going on here, and instead of looking at herself in her death throes, she is not. She's panicked. She's not looking at herself. Probably for the first time, the opportunity arises to look at herself, and she is, as Ashura said, breaking a sweat again. But then, is she looking at the reflection? And in the same way that she looked down and saw Fish Zoth, flopping around, is she looking in the reflection, hoping that once more he will come to her aid? He will show himself in her greatest moment of need, and she is still so defiant in this moment. And it's strange to see. Again, there's some people still debate on whether or not Ajara is truly powerful, and I think the insanity of the battle itself, the boss fight itself, shows just how powerful she is and how impossible defeat is to her. Like, it's kind of hard for us, the players, because we're like, we've defeated literally everyone we've come across. Why is she different? But in her case, this has only ever happened one other time with the well. And so this happening twice, she's like, man, call back to Warbringers. This is not the deal I made. This is not the bargain I made. And she says that without actually saying those words. We have the duo here approach. I will talk about the sound design actually here for a second. The sound design, side note, cinematics have come a long way. This cinematic for in-game cinematic was flawlessly beautiful, but the sound design in here, I'm listening to it, don't have a headset at the moment, I'm listening to it earphones, and good God, I love the sound design in here. In this particular moment, we hear her fingers scraping on the glass. And I instantly thought of that moment in Warbringers when her shield begins to crack, when her barrier begins to crack and it begins to turn into a solid, and you can hear it cracking like glass. I instantly was like, oh man, like this is in the same way. I know it's her finger scraping, I know the floor's not physically cracking, but that sound, I don't know what it is about glass or ice cracking, but it's so appealing to the ears, and instantly I just thought of, wow, Warbringers. That sound in Warbringers. Same kind of, the hairs on my neck stood up here. Anyway, we have, she looks up and she's, realizing defeat, gasping. And at this moment, this reflection, there was a brief moment where I saw the gold and I saw the red of Lorthamar, and I thought, right at the top of the screen here, where he has the space between his robes, where his legs are, that black line reminded me of a pupil. And I know it's a stretch, right? Like, Lorthamar is not in his eye. I'm not saying it is. But there's that moment. The coloration is there. The brief eye symbolism is there. She looks up, and for a second I was like, oh my God, is that N'Zoth looming at her? And then it's like, oh shit, no, it's right, we're there. And she probably thinking the same thing. Maybe she's like, oh hey, I know those colors, and damn it, the Blood Elves have the same colors.
I feel like the reflection of Jaina's staff, even the blue is kind of like the same blue as the chains. So just this whole reflection on the floor, which is underneath her, and you kind of find out later in this, I think that N'Zoth, I guess I would say, is underneath this platform. So it's kind of like this reflection, this shadow